Hello guys, welcome to our second tutorial on if statements. So in the previous tutorial we were checking if a number is positive, and we were not checking if a number is negative, right? So I've added a text box here so that we can take a value from a text box. And as for the code, now the variable number will be taking a value from the text box, right? And now we are checking. I've added another part to the if statement, which is called the else part, right? This part, I've added this part. So what happens is, in the previous tutorial we're just checking if a number is greater than 0, which means it is positive, right? Now we have the else part. We are just considering that the number, if the number is positive, it is not negative, or if the number is negative, it means that it is not positive, right? So if the number we are going to take from text box 1 is not positive, it means it is negative, right? So this else part will be executed only if this condition is not satisfied, right? If this condition is satisfied, the only part that will be executed is this part, displaying that the number is positive. But if this condition is not satisfied, then all this code will be escaped, right? And will be skipped, and this part will be executed, right? The else part, right? So let us run. So if you look very carefully, you will see that if you input 0, right? If you input 0 into the text box, it will be considered as a negative number. Why? Because this condition only checks if a number is greater than 0, right? And not if the number is equal to 0, right? So if the number you input is not greater than 0, it means that the program will say the number is negative, right? Let us check. Let us start by inputting 0. The program said negative, right? It is because 0 is not is not greater than 0. It is just equal to 0. It is not greater than 0. So this condition has not been satisfied. If we input 1, then it is greater than 0 and it says positive, right? If you input -3, then it will say negative, because this condition has not been satisfied. The number is less than 0, right? So if you put 0, in fact any decimal number here, there will be a problem when the program tries to convert that from string to integer, right? At first it will be read as string, and it tries to convert that to an integer, right? And it fails because there is that comma will be, that decimal point will be read as a punctuation mark, right, as full stop, right? So it will not be able to convert that. So we can also check, let's say we want to create a small program whereby we check if someone uh, is old enough to vote, right? You know that in most countries they say when someone is now 18 years or over is now eligible to vote, right? So we check if all right, let us use that variable number to store the age, right? So you just know that in that variable called number we are inputting age, right? If that value we get is greater than or equal to 18, then someone is old enough to vote. Old enough to vote. And obviously if he is not old enough to vote, if he is enough to vote, it means that this condition will be satisfied. If the age is below 18, right, he is not old enough to vote, right? So if you run this, it will just display let's say you input 36, it will display old enough to vote. If you input any other number that is less than 18, then it will say not old enough to vote.